Hello everyone, welcome to Mindovermania, where we keep your head above the chaos. My name is Christian, and I'm recording another Pick a Card reading, where you get to choose your own intuitively channeled message. Today's topic is going to be, how do you reclaim your throne? Okay? This reading is for the royals, okay? People who know that they're meant to lead, they're meant to be in charge, and do it with style. Whatever royalty means to you, I'm trusting the universe right now with the word choices. But this has a lot more to do with spiritual royalty as opposed to financial. However, finances and all that other good stuff, that's probably going to be included in there as well. We have 4 piles to choose from today. In order to select your pile, put both feet firmly on the ground, close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, clear your mind, and then open your eyes, and whichever pile you feel drawn to the most is more than likely going to be your pile. I will see you at your pile. Take care. Hello everyone, you have chosen pile number 1 with the Love Can Tell a Million Stories sticker. And these are going to be your messages on how to reclaim your throne. All right, the royal one. So right off the bat, for you guys, pile number 1, royalty really lies in your commitments as well as in your relationships, okay? So right off the bat, I feel like love is going to be a huge theme of this pile. Not necessarily even romantic love, but the love you have for your country, for your people, for those that are being oppressed, or those that are being picked on by those beings, or those that are weaker than you. Relationships is really how you're able to maintain your social status as well as your power and control over a situation. But it's not a malicious type of control. This is the kind of control that says, hey, you call the shots, you know exactly how to operate in a stressful situation, and you know how to get things under control. Right? So for example, maybe you are the star of your friend group and someone is getting mistreated. You can come in and change the tide of how this person gets supported from other people, how they can receive resources, or stop bullies in their tracks, right? Because more than likely, even if you have a friend that's picking on this person, it's up to you really to correct that friend to stop them from either treating someone else like shit. Part of being a leader is understanding you need to be objective in situations and not necessarily trying to control and manipulate situation for your favor, but for the highest good of the community, right? I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards, but again, love is important to your story and also how you reclaim your power and your sense of loyalty and royalty. Yeah, for some reason I'm hearing royalty for you guys, pile number 1, has a lot to do with loyalty. So when you think of a king and a queen, right, I'm seeing the knights that they swear an oath to you. And for you guys, pile number 1, what makes you royal and special is people are undoubtedly loyal to you and also royal to you because you choose to invest in people. You make other people feel like all-stars, and so that's why they're willing to sacrifice and give things back to you, because they know you mean what you say. You follow through, and the way you lead is beneficial. You make sacrifices for other people. You've shown up, and that is something that causes people to really respect your leadership, and what makes them grow and care about you in return. You know, there's a lot of give and take, but I feel like despite the moves that some of these other people have made, you've continued to be generous. You've continued to show up for those that others would say, hey, you know, you're being kind to your enemies. What is all that about? It's because it's genuine and it's you. And if anything, it causes other people to feel more safe with you because you're not condemning and attacking those that have harmed you. There's a truth also as well in your royalty, pile number 1, that comes from experience and knowledge. And it just feels really sacred. You know, like you're protecting some kind of wealth of or wisdom by your words, thoughts, and actions. Okay, so that's all I was getting while pulling your cards. So let me go ahead and flip them over in a way that's kind of making sense according to spirit. I feel like people love the way that you guys talk, pile number 1, and it's simply... It's something I'm hearing like not true, so I don't know if you have the gift of gab and you're not always aware of how it works, I guess. Maybe there's something unconventionally attractive about you. But I feel like I was hearing the word mood disorder, or maybe there's just something that you don't necessarily understand yourself very well. And I think that gets in the way of your ability to be in charge and to reclaim your throne and power. Because again, it's almost like you would be more social, you would have more advantages in life if you were able to overcome this feeling and love yourself unconditionally, right? With the rainbows here, like maybe you're a queer person, but I feel like you don't have to be queer. I'm feeling like there's just many different colors and shades to you. You know, with the rainbow, I feel like you could be many different kinds of people all at once. And that tells me that maybe you're used to being a social comedian. I'm also hearing a comedian. Yeah, like there's kind of like, you're really good at storytelling, you're really great at bringing people in, but then you're not showing them where they can come and have a seat in your life, right? It's almost like you spend time with people, and then when they try to move closer or move inwards, you kind of reject them, or you sort of push them out. And so as a leader, if you want to allow people to come in, you have to give them at least a piece of you, or at least some kind of recognition. You know what I mean? It's almost like when I was thinking of like the loyal knight, right? You give them a banner or a symbol to wear or a t-shirt or something. Like, they have to be something tangible to say, I identify with your cause, with your movement, with what you do, and willing to go to battle for you. And so I think just you're overcomplicating what these people want and what they value, right? They value you for just existing. They don't want to wear a t-shirt you made. They want to be acknowledged. They want to show praises and that you enjoy being praised, right? It's kind of interesting because some of these people that really like you or love you, they're more into structure and hierarchy, right? Because that's kind of the whole purpose of royalty, right? It's socially built hierarchies based off of, okay, you've got a royal person who's in charge, and they, in theory, they acquire all this wealth, and then they can redistribute it around, and they're usually worthy and deserving of that wealth because the symbol is the crown itself, not necessarily the individual. You know, it's supposed to be, this is a symbol of the people, this is a symbol of whatever. Now, obviously, the world doesn't work quite that way because greed and corruption, but that's how the relationship aspect of royalty and a kingdom works, is you're in charge because you're their home base. You're the one that everyone wants to come home to and try to create this kingdom around them, right? They're like, well, I can't do this and this. Oh, and then you say, well, but you have this gift. Why don't you contribute this? You know, it's like you're able to coordinate and tie all these things together. Give people a place in your life to do something for you. That way, it doesn't feel like you're abandoning them, that you're heartless, that you're whatever. You're just kind of like, hey, actually, I've been really overwhelmed and I don't know how to let people in, you know? And then people will be much more understanding, and it won't feel like control because you're not telling them what to do, you're asking for help, right? It's kind of just a slight mindset shift because you're not telling people what to do, you're requesting. Okay? All right, so you got the pillar. Maybe the number 22 is significant to you, or 2. I'm seeing like twins. You need like a mirror. Yeah, I'm seeing some mirroring back and forth. Unavailable. Free will. Grip, anchor, chains weighed down. Oh my gosh. This energy is like, whoa. Very big shift compared to what I was reading earlier. Meeting, 2 or more people discussing planning. We've got the 5 of Wands, conflict. Okay. 7 of Wands in reverse. We've got grapes, time to go out and have fun. Fly, a period of ill health, depression. Boat, money or property through inheritance, winning or windfall. And danger, fury, worries, intense situations. Yeah, so I'm hearing the word like warrior. So maybe you've been a warrior for a while. You're not used to being the queen bee or the king. In this case, I feel like you've been just really unavailable for this sort of thing. okay? Emotionally. With free will, I feel like you have a lot of choices. And with a million stories, it's kind of like you've been in this position of you're being asked to allow spirit to move in your way, but you've been kind of reluctant because you want to have free will. You want to have your own choices. You want to have your cake and eat it too, but you don't want to lead people, because again, I see you really being weighed down by something. Yeah, I just felt like in the pit of my stomach, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys have a lot of grief and have a hard time reconciling within yourself. And I think that's where this pillar comes in, is you need structure and community. So regardless of what your family life is, what your home life is, in order for you to create this empire that you want to build, you need structure. You need pillars. But more importantly, it's not even just about having a community, because that's externalizing your power. This comes from within, right? This comes down to your principles and how you operate within a system, how you operate as a person, and how you operate within yourself, right? Who you choose to be in your life, who do you choose to be in community with, who do you choose to part with. You got to really narrow down the structures that that you're willing to work with, right? And so here's an example of this. Say, for example, you like playing soccer, all right? And so everybody knows there's the rules for soccer, right? Well, say you have a player on your team that doesn't like the way that you play, right? They're like, your technique's not very good. I was taught a different way and whatever. You're not going to reject that person from your team right away just because they disagree with you, right? However, you are going to reject that person if you're sitting there running and this person trips you and intentionally sabotages your ability to run. Or maybe they're actively criticizing you and causes you to lose focus, right? You can't get distracted by people like this within your community, right? If that person was on the opposite team, that's different. But if they're on your team, then you got to start switching sides somewhere. You know what I mean? And I feel like for you guys, pile number one, because you're very accepting and loving, you're not recognizing or not doing anything about people that are switching on you. Or like I'm seeing with these snakes, right? You have to meet the snakes where they're at and accept that not everybody's going to always be cheering you on. It's just knowing the difference and leveling with people when they start acting up in a certain kind of way. You have to start taking charge and telling people, hey, don't act like that, or I'm going to act like this. And you don't need to be mean. You don't need to be cross or get in people's faces. Just say, hey, I'm not available for this bullshit. And you don't have to say bullshit either. I feel like with money, there's something about like, if you're the one that's paying for the event, then you're calling the shots because you're also focused on what everybody else is getting, right? So maybe, for example, you're running a community event. You're paying for it. You're doing all the work. People are coming in and donating some money. However, you operate as if that's not your money, right? You're like, okay, this is part of the group. However, you also have to have a balanced mindset to be like, what am I taking away from myself so that way I can sustain and support the next opportunity? You can't be taking everything yourself, but you also can't be giving everything away back to everyone else. With fear, worries, tense situations, you're overthinking things. You're telling yourselves a million stories of what could go wrong. And that's where going out and having some fun and letting off some steam is going to be great. The thing is, though, don't eat where you shit, right? Make sure that you know the difference between your work life, having balance, who your friends are, who your real friends are, and who are the ones that they're just taking a bathroom break where you're at. Because that's always going to happen when you're shiny and successful in community. And when you learn to just emotionally detach from those people, as long as they have no ability to access your wealth or money or whatever, I'm hearing the word cruelty, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Because your boat is safe and secure. Oh no, someone was really disrespectful. Okay. That doesn't take your crown away. Especially when you have a really great community. And so learning to operate without losing your self-worth while your depression is eating at you, maybe your inner critic, external criticism. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. but it's not okay to take out all of that angst and anguish internally and eat yourself alive. You know, with anchor chains weighed down, when you release your grip on being perfect, others people's expectations, and maybe your own unrealistic expectations, that grip will really make relationships easier, especially with love, right? Apply love to situations. That's true leadership, right? Is being able to hold space, but power and be gentle at the same time. You know, it's like basically saying, like, hey, if there's two people who are having an argument, right? And you need to ultimately make the decision of how do we move forward with this? It's a lot easy to say, well, I'm going to pick one person's side over the other. Instead, you can meet somewhere in the middle and be diplomatic and show and acknowledge both parties without getting in the way or interfering with their individual truths, you know? And you're also allowed, since you were the one that's the authority, to set the rules and the tone of what you expect as well. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be letting people continue to come up and continue to fight or fire people or do things that are harming you and your business and also other people in the tone. You know, for you guys, pile number one, I'm hearing like tone policing. You really got to watch so that way you're not stopping all disagreements, and forcing everybody to agree with something that you say, but you also got to acknowledge that, hey, you got to learn when to tell people to back off as well. You know, this is really about just learning social graces and going deep within to be super secure, because I think right now you're just caught in your head too much. Stories, yeah. There's the conflict with that. And 7-1s, yeah, I just feel like you're bottling up. And because you're stopping yourself from reaching out to other people because you're trying to do everything alone, you gotta loosen up a little bit. You know, I'm just seeing like everything's under the surface and you're trying to like hide your flaws and come across as perfect. And it's like, that's what makes it worse. You know, because nobody's perfect. No one expects that. You may expect that, but that's not realistic and you should stop. All right, let's look at your other cards. We have Wall, misunderstanding. Yeah. Maybe because you're afraid of being misunderstood. Fair Woman, dealings a relationship with a woman with blonde, gray, or white hair. Tower, solid foundation, success with effort. Yeah, you guys are going to be really successful when you start stepping into your royalty and your power, you know? Because it's valuable for a reason, guys. There's a reason why other people want it and they can't have it, because it's born inside of you. That's why it's hereditary, okay? Because maybe you come from a family of leaders, or there's leadership in your past. Someone here might be Chinese, because I'm feeling like the Great Wall of China. You know, it's kind of like there's a long legacy of commitment and structure. Yeah, I'm just seeing like there's just a lot of generational wealth and knowledge that you haven't tapped into yet. Yeah, and love can tell a million stories. That, once again, I'm being drawn back to not acknowledging how much you've been through, right? So for you guys, pile number one, some of your royalty comes from the fact that you released your ego and you conquered challenges, okay? So that's what makes you really royal and valuable, is because people need leaders that are tried and true. They're trustworthy in times of crisis, right? Because someone who is a king, right? Again, we're talking about stereotypical, the ideal of what a king or queen should be, right? A king is not gonna succeed at holding power if he lets the country get overrun, right? If your country's at war, he's going to go out there and he's going to say, hey, I'm going to cheer the soldiers on. You know, I'm going to make sure that people are protected in their homes. You know, these are the things we're going to do. Or maybe there's a natural disaster, right? Because you guys have lived experience of staying in control, making good judgment calls, and supporting people and not turning on people or making things out to be all about you, not narcissistic. That's where your leadership comes from, you know? And that's why I kind of see like that line of leaders, like people want to show up for that, you know? They're tired of bad leadership. Um, yeah, you gotta let your fire out a little bit. It's crazy because, like, I feel like your fire is going out because you're trying to squash it within yourself. Oh, no. I'm literally like, this is supposed to be upright. And they're like, no, 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 no. And you're like, oh, I can't be too much. Oh, I can't be too loud. I can't be too passionate. It's like the Ace of Wands, in this case, it's the Ace of Fire. The Ace of Wands is all about creativity. It's about spark. It's about life, right? And when you're rejecting that fire, like you were born in fire. You were forged in the fire. You're not royalty because you were made for this. You know what I mean? It was like, it was in your genes, it was in your lifestyle, it was in your choices. Why are you trying to play small now? You know what I mean? Like when I was saying like all that suppressing energy earlier, that's why you can't stop a fire. Otherwise it's going to burn out and then you're going to sit there and feel like crap with all this extra energy. You know what I mean? Maybe you guys have been burning out over the wrong things and it's keeping you tired and stuck. Yeah, we got nature and we've got release. Yeah, so in order to kind of reclaim your royal title or your royal energy, you gotta release a lot of this trauma, shake it out. I'm seeing like snow or literally just like glitter, like literally just sit and just shake all that shit out. Go sit out in the rain. Go be in nature, commune with nature. I'm also seeing the moon, so maybe doing some lunar rituals or dealing with stuff in your subconscious. I don't know, we've got a lot of circles and enlightenment, so to me it's just like, just don't force it. Because if you were made for more, then stop resisting that and just go do it. But I feel like because you're in your head, you can't just go do it. That's why we got to purge. So we've got purge, scorn, cycles, karmic third-party relationship. I'm not looking for anything serious and I'm embarrassed to tell you the truth. And my heart belongs to someone else in a relationship. Okay, so for some of you guys, you think you need to rely on a partner in order to have a crown. That is simply not true. Okay, for a lot of you guys, if you've been sitting here like, well, I can't start on that project or I can't buy a house and take care of it unless I have a partner, or if I don't have blah, blah, blah. No. Spirit is saying stop the cycles, stop rejecting something that isn't for you. You know what I mean? It literally, some of what you guys are doing is you're like, well, I don't want to step into my power because that means I'm going to be expected to do A, B, and C. And you're like, no. Literally no one in the world is asking you to do that. You know, you don't have to buy a house in order to start your business. You don't have to be in charge of a Fortune 500 company to run a business. You know, like there's just like all these different little things with scorn. It's like you turned your back on yourself because of being jaded by what other people have done. You know, maybe you're like, well, I don't want to be a millionaire, so I'm just not going to try. And it's like, well, what? Who cares? You know, this is about your journey. You know? And then my heart belongs to someone else. Yeah, maybe you're just sitting there being like, I just want to have a partner, have a good house and a good life, and screw everybody else. The problem is, you're not looking for anything seriously. And that's what's also you abandoning yourself. And I'm embarrassed to tell you the truth. Yeah, a lot of this is you're like, oh, well, I just want to be free and do all these things. Your freedom comes from what you build. It's about where you belong. You know, there's like a deception. Like, I think you guys are lying to yourself. You're embarrassed to admit that you are royal, you know, that you have that in your blood, this drive, this force, this frequency, because maybe it caused you to get rejected in the past. You're holding your heart space back because you got to protect yourself, and you're pretending to be colder than what you are because you're embarrassed. You're embarrassed by the fact that, wow, I put up with stuff I shouldn't have. I fell in love with someone I shouldn't have. I prioritized this imaginary person that never came. But you paid your karmic debt, though. You already abandoned yourself. You already built your walls. You know what it takes to protect yourself now. You see right through that bullshit. And someone is going to come. At some point, they're holding the key. Right? But you can't expect that person to show up when you're hiding behind the wall. You got to take charge in your life. Again, like I said, royalty doesn't have to come with an army either, guys. Even if it's just having a partner, allowing that person to love you unconditionally. That's hard, y'all. When you're battle worn, when you've been rejected how many times for who you are, it's going to feel really strange to have someone that's more than just a friend for you. You're not going to know how to take it. But that's where you're purging all of this. You're cooling those flames. You know, it's learning how to restore the fire back into balance and using the fire that's magic and used to create rather than to burn others and to burn yourself. I don't know. I feel like some of you guys, you even gave up looking for a partner. You gave up on a spouse. And that's also being trapped in a cycle and rejecting yourself and your values. Because if your heart is telling you one thing and what you want, set the tone, set a course, and then wait and see what happens. There's going to be obstacles. You're going to face rejection. But what kind of a journey is that, just going completely by yourself and being a nihilist about your truth? Use your words. You're jealous of other people. You're jealous of yourself. You're jealous of an image you're jealous of something that hasn't even worked out for you yet. That doesn't make any sense. Again, you're embarrassed when it's there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's okay that you're a little delulu, okay? It's okay, but a lot of this stuff is fear, worries, intense situations, and it's you're gonna be fine. You're always gonna be attractive to people, y'all. I'm just saying, this pile, yeah. And as long as you got love to give, it doesn't really matter, because whether you got a boo thing or not, if you've got an empire of people loving you, being loyal to you, it's not gonna matter. You know, you're gonna feel love at different stages of your life and different kinds of love. There are many different forms and shapes. And so when you start being open to experiences, rather than just labels and control and fantasy, that wall's gonna come right down. And you're gonna start playing more fair with people. You're gonna be less scorch earth and trying to rage through things. And again, I'm not looking for anything serious. It's okay if you want to have your hookups for a little bit. You don't need to allow people into your inner circle and give the whole empire away just because you fell in love with someone either. You know? Know your worth. Put your crown back on. Finish up the last of this karmic cycle and go. Anyways, y'all, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Please like, subscribe, comment down below if this resonated with you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. You're gonna win this battle. Hello, everyone. You have chosen pile number 2, and these are gonna be your messages on how do you reclaim your throne. Talking about royalty here. So for you guys, pile number 1, right off the bat, my eye was drawn towards fortune, okay, in this sticker, where I was like, for you guys, your empire is going to be about money, right? Wealth, health, and prosperity, right? So you guys are the royals that you know how to party and shake it like your mama gave you. What? Okay, sorry. My brain's, I'm a little out there right now, but specifically, I don't know how you're getting your money. Maybe you are making money through, let's say, unconventional means. We're gonna put it that way. It wouldn't surprise me with this sticker, you know, behind every fortune is a crime. Yeah, I don't know, maybe you guys are a little jaded by money. But there's something about your background that you need to overcome in order for you to really welcome this in. With the green money, I'm kind of, for some reason, thinking of, let's just say, Mary Jane. The devil's lettuce, so maybe you guys are selling something, or somebody you're in a connection with is making money in a way. Maybe your partner is somebody who is up to no good, or you are. I don't know. Take whatever resonates, but I almost said resume. I'm like, did somebody lie on their resume to get somewhere? I don't know. You guys are a little bit more sneaky. pile number two. I almost said pile number one. Interesting. I feel like there's just another side to you altogether that no one would notice unless they looked into you. Or it's kind of like if you know, right? Like someone who has been a drug dealer before knows the signs of somebody else that's either using or someone that has secrets, right? And you're the kind of person that's just like, hey, there's no need to pry. I'm not hurting anybody. But regardless, whatever you guys do to make your money and your wealth, I feel like there's something behind the curtain that Spirit wants me to show you guys, so that way you can reclaim this energy and maybe put it back towards the light. Or like, for example, like for some of you guys, it's like sex work, right? OnlyFans, or something that people are kind of like, either they're not too proud, or you guys are pretending to have shame when you really don't. But it's just more so about Spirit wants you to shift into safer, having better resources, maybe moving to a safer situation, or just being less hostile work environments. You know what I mean? Like there's something about maybe the way that you're making money right now is not sustainable long term. You know, it's kind of like, what happens if I get sick? What happens if this happens? You know, your spirit guides want to guide you to be a bit more grounded, have a little bit better sense of security and safety. And also, too, they want you to make your bag. You know, there's something about, like, you have something that's high quality, and whatever version of whatever you're selling is, it's okay. You know, so maybe some of you guys are artists and you do OnlyFans on the side, or maybe you are behind the scenes of something. I don't know. I could see you guys definitely being like, I don't know, I just keep hearing drug dealer. Like, you don't have to be selling drugs, but, like, that's a business. It's a business strategy. I'm not saying do illegal things, but, you know, it's kind of the concept of how stuff works. Anyway, Lion, time to act. Single, current status available. Some of you guys take advantage of single guys. That's what I'm saying. I was like, some of y'all, you're stepping in certain kind of ways that's how you're gonna make your bag, is you're gonna maybe take advantage of people a little bit. Wow, this isn't normally my frequency, but this is what Spirit's telling me. We've got escapist, repelled, numbing, sold, moving physical location change. Yeah, so it's like, for you guys, group number 2, part of your royalty is you're escaping transactional relationships, right? So for example, being single is really, I think right now for you guys, pile number 2, being single is a strategy. It's not about not having lovers. It's not about not being able to commit. It is because you are more valuable when you're single. When men think that there is no competition, or that they gotta compete for you, right? This is, I don't know, not PC or whatever, but basically with sold, there's something about, like, when you lock somebody down, that's when it's going to be a crime, right? A crime scene. There's something about, like, you lose your potential by giving too much of you away right now. And again, this doesn't have to be long term, but right now, if you're looking to start this empire, if you're starting to want to get rich quick, you got to stop escaping. But you can also make money off of people trying to escape, right? So something about your appeal, pile number 2, I was about to say 4. So again, I don't know if there's like multiple piles that you need to check out, but with Lion, like, you gotta be a strategist and start acting tougher. You're being tough on yourself and not on your customers. Right? Like, if someone's coming in and sitting there trying to get a free meal out of you, sure, you can be helpful, but after a certain point, you gotta stop being nice. You know what I mean? Learn from strippers or sex workers, if you're not already, and look at how they handle interactions with men. They have way more confidence over their bodies and over their money, because that's what it's all about. They know how to analyze men and how all of that stuff works. So if you apply that same mentality to other things, you're not going to get schmoozed over and used so much in your business relationships, guys. There's something about, you got to learn from the shadows, your shadow self, to play the game. Because the reality is especially if you want to make a lot of money, no offense, there's not a lot of clean ways to do it. Sure, you can follow the rules, you can do the right things and become successful, but let's be perfectly honest. Business is messy. It's competitive. You're going to have people backstabbing you, sabotaging you. And if you're good looking, you're always going to have people coming at you, right? If you got something valuable, you got to protect yourself. You got to protect your wealth. You got to protect your money. And there's something about like, you think it's funny, but it's like, yeah, I'm hearing like funny, honey. Seeing like a little like, for some reason, I'm hearing like gangster rapping and something like that. And I'm sitting there like, I was about to be like matching some rhymes together. And I'm just like, man, like, you got to show people who you are. Or maybe not. Maybe behind the scenes, you're way more gangster than you let on. Yeah, with behind, it's like, I'm literally seeing like, I'm going to kick their behind. So it's kind of like, you're nice until you're not nice. That's part of your royalty. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this doesn't feel like a demographic I normally associate with, but it makes a lot of sense to me because it's like, okay, maybe you're not the type of royalty that you're gonna be in the Hollywood Hills, but I could literally see you guys being like, I own this street, not necessarily financially, but everybody is talking about me. Everyone wants to be like me. I bought my house. I took care of my family. Paid for my kids' college. I'm behind this family's generational wealth. And I did it all me because I ran my life like a business. With Repelled, you're drowning right now because you're all focused on money that you haven't even made yet. With Numbing, I think you're trying, like, there's something about a strategy where you are strategically numbing yourself out so you can back away from things that are meant for you, right? Maybe you're trying to play things nice. Maybe you're trying so hard to do stuff the right way. When a lot of businesses, especially successful business people, they're all doing dirty shit. And now you don't have to play the same game, but understand that other people are not playing by the rules either. So learning how to make wise decisions and understand that laws aren't necessarily good gauges of morality, and understand that you also don't always have to act like a princess. You know? I'm literally seeing you stepping on somebody's hands and literally being like, no, you can't touch me that way. You can't talk to me that way. Let people find out, you know? Okay, so we've got the Page of Wands in reverse. Justice in reverse. I keep listening to our song. Higher Perspective. And the Outlaw. Wow. That's so funny, yeah. I'm getting like Bonnie and Clyde vibes. Or just Bonnie right now. I keep listening to our song, reminiscing. Yeah, so like again, maybe you're kind of hung up on an ex. Right? You were somebody that was always behind the scenes. You know, you need your front man. You need your person that is like, that's the person that goes out there and does everything. You got to look at yourself from a higher perspective, though. People need this kind of royalty. Okay? Because when you show up, pile number 2, people step in line. Lockstep. Right? You got your dagger on your heel. Like, literally, I'm thinking of like a brothel, right? And you have the head lady who runs the whole brothel. This is that kind of energy where she's like, she don't mess around. She'd be like, I know what we are. I know what everyone's like behind closed doors. So you're not going to mess with me or my people. Start taking action. Start stepping in the way that you're meant to. You know, I feel like you have it. You just haven't really let it solidify and crystallize. And I keep listening to our song, like, maybe you're yearning for a younger time, right? Because I literally sit there and see you being like, but I want princess treatment. You know, like, again, maybe you started doing OnlyFans and you're kind of being like, I was made for the soft life, but I keep getting discarded and treated like trash. Remember, when you're in businesses or industries that you're seeing the underhanded side of society, right? You're the underdog if you want to play nice, right? This is not the place you go to for a soft life. This is where you go to get big. Like, if you want to be famous, go this route. You want to deal drugs and go be with folks that make a lot of money doing that? Okay. The problem is the risk worth the reward? Because you want to be a cute little house cat. Oh, I want this guy to love me. They are focused on money. If that is not the path you want to go down, then don't spend time around people like that. You can be an outlaw and have that energy, but bring that money back towards you, right? You can empower yourself. You can empower the people around you. But you don't have to go down and make the same decisions that these other people do. You know your limits, know your boundaries, and quit trying to escape the choices that you made and where it is that you're going. Do you want to stay on the same street, doing the same stuff? Or do you want to make moves doing something else? You know what I mean? It's all about shifting your perspective to be like, okay, I know how this version of the world works. Now let's try playing the other game. And I think you have a very hard time because you, by playing this old role in this old game, you were being rejected by society, right? So like if you're doing sex work, if you're dealing drugs, or if you're doing any of that other sort of activity, right? Automatically there's a huge group of society that's like, you guys are doing something bad. And you're just like, whatever, I don't care, right? The problem is when you try shifting into not using these methods, you're still going to be attracting all the same old energies in a new place, right? It's kind of like bringing a street person, putting them in a corporate setting, and then watching them crash out because they don't know the rules, they don't know the game, they can't fit in with anybody. And again, with the soft life, same with like the OnlyFans, right? There's a huge difference between being the mistress and being the wife. Because the wife more than likely grew up with that generational wealth and grew up with all that other stuff. Meanwhile, you're brought in there and you're sitting there like, right? Take charge of how you want to be. If you want a soft life, what does a soft life mean to you? Because if it means getting used, that ain't royalty, right? Because royal people don't get used by other people, right? Remember back to the brothel example? Think of the people that you're taking care of. What actions you need to take. What are your limits and your boundaries? And who it is that you're willing to stick your neck out for. And who you're not, right? Because another piece of this too is like you can't save everybody. You know, I'm seeing like some people are made for the streets. They don't want to grow and change. And so, for example, maybe you were dating somebody and you're like, hey, I'm really successful. My business is taking off. I don't need to have this life anymore. Come with me. Some people can't or won't. They'll sabotage your relationship so they don't have to grow and change. If that's what's comfortable for them, then leave them be, right? If they want to continue to do behaviors that are self-destructive, that bring you continually into their chaos and drama, then you're going to have to make a choice and let them go. Right? That is not choosing you. And again, we're talking about building empires, right? You want to build an empire, you can't do it from chaotic or craziness. You can flow with the crazy. You can learn to navigate it, but you can't internalize it. You got to be reactive and strategic, but making sure you know how to react in the right ways, right? Because, for example, if you're going to be talking about street smarts, right? You know that if you flip out on some random guy in a club, that could be the boss of somebody. That could be somebody's kid you don't want to fuck with, right? It doesn't matter if these people have a lot of money. or if they don't. You don't know who you're playing with, so when you're reacting to something, be strategic. Think. Always be on your toes with whatever business you're doing, pile number 2. I also feel like someone's got to say something to you as well. There's like a lot of talk behind your back, so you got to be strategic and careful about what you say, pile number 2, because the kind of royalty you are, you don't want word coming back around to you, right? There's kind of something, there's something kind of dangerous about you, but there's also something illegal about the things you'll do to get back at somebody. And that's where you got to be careful about what you say. You know, you got to mean what you say. You can't be like throwing your words around and threatening people and then nothing happens, you know, because that is a crime and you will go to jail, or worse. There's a lot worse things than going to jail, y'all. Especially if you're playing around with some of these people. Just know that you never know who you're really messing with. All right, so we've got heart, love, deep affection, and caring. Hills, obstacles to overcome. Bat, take care, enemies are working against you. Scales, keep your life in balance. Yeah, so with this, enemies are working against you, this kind of feels like old energy. Not gonna lie, because at first maybe you were more afraid when you were younger, being like, oh my gosh, there's all these people out to get me. They don't like me because of my race or my gender or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, now you're at the age and the experience level where you can start fighting back. You start realizing that half of these people ain't shit. They're talking through their ass. And also, if you're a strategist, you can forego and ignore and avoid a lot of this conflict. Everyday living doesn't need to be a battle, but it is a battle in your head. And you got to take charge of those demons, you know, managing yourself behind the scenes, because who you are behind closed doors is everything when you're playing these sorts of games. And you're going to have some challenges if you want to scale this, right? Yeah, about keeping life in balance. Like, I do feel like you guys, you are, as a result of either how you're trying to make money or how your royalty works, you have to make sure that you are balancing pain and pleasure, that you are valuing your heart, and making sure that you really treasure and keep true loving relationships in your corner at all times, right? Choose like 3 to 4 people that you would die for and say fuck it to the rest of them. I'm serious. Because like with whatever you're doing right now, you can't trust anybody. And it's going to get really isolating and lonely and easier to manipulate. And easier for people to get away with taking your money. They're gonna run you out of your fortune because you chose wrong with your heart, right? That's why you gotta be aligned and fierce. You know, fiercely protect your values. Be spiritual. Connect to your highest good. You know, there's something about like drowning. You know, save the kid that's drowning, but not every kid. You know, be strategic. The Weaver. Yeah, some of you guys, your hands are tied. Maybe some of you guys got into a mess, and so now you gotta cut your way out. So we've got please choose me, multiple options. Shadow work and awakening. Yeah, maybe some of you guys, this is your past, right? And you don't know how to identify anything else or as anything else. I'm seeing like lots of rings on your fingers, but specifically like Weaver, you know, you get to control the dagger with your own hands. But just because you're not touching the dagger doesn't mean you're not wielding it, right? So for example, this is kind of like playing it very strategically on your relationships, your conversations, what you acquire and spend money on, what other people see you spend money on. This is all very underhanded, right? I'm also hearing the word gypsy. So yeah, some of you guys, maybe you're mixed race. Maybe you don't really fit in anywhere. But the please choose me, I think what's going to allow you to really step into your power is ignore people that are trying to give you handouts, that are trying to be generous, simply because there's something about these other people are trying to use you because you have value. Maybe you have money, or maybe there's something about you that's very valuable, or they know you can acquire money. And specifically, I think because you don't fit in anywhere, that's why they want you to invest in them. And that's not always a good thing. And I think like maybe you sometimes struggle with that because you're like, well, is this person's offer serious? I'd say take every offer as a grain of salt, unless you've proven ritualistically that this person is going to come through to you and come through for you, that they're serious about their investments. Again, not all that glitters is gold. Someone can say they own a bunch of properties. Doesn't mean they run anything. Doesn't mean they do anything. There's a lot. Heck, for some reason, I'm channeling. There are people out there that they're given a paycheck just to be a front for some really nasty people. That they're going to take the fall while these other people continue doing their shady shit. So be very careful what's going on behind closed doors, because you could very much upset the balance of somebody or something if you're not aware that behind every fortune is a crime, right? It's kind of like the people that think that, oh, billionaires are smart and successful. No, they're strategic, right? And I feel like you guys aren't disillusioned by that, pile number 2, but maybe some of you are. It's all the same at the end of the day. And again, just don't treat yourself like shit because of your upbringing or because you weren't understood or whatever. It's like, we don't have time for that. There's money to be made. Things to get away with. Fox, shrewdness and resourcefulness, especially in business. I was also hearing building, so maybe invest in real estate. You know, keep a close eye on who's watching you. Yeah, retaliation, unlovable. And then we've got the Queen of Swords. We also got Rouge the Bat, if that signifies anything. So Rouge the Bat, for those of you that don't know, she's a treasure hunter. She loves jewels. She steals jewels, right? And with retaliation, for some of you guys, pile number 2, especially for the sex workers, OnlyFans folks, you're gonna have to be careful about jealous girlfriends. Wives, ex-wives, people that retaliate. Just play it very delicately. Protect all your assets. Don't disclose your location online. Yeah, I don't know. I think just learn to watch from a distance. Just be like, hey, I came, I did my thing, and I left. Don't get invested in other people's drama and bullshit. You're not his mommy. You're not unlovable. This isn't love. That's why, especially, it's so important to separate your business persona and your empire persona from your heart. Because for some of you guys, you love this shit. Let's be perfectly honest. And that's a hard thing to admit, but it be who it be, you know? And even if that's not necessarily in your heart and you want to get out of this, then do the shadow work. Because you can't take the gangster out of a person if that's who their shadow self really is, you know? And you can use all these lessons in a positive way too, right? Yeah, remember you guys aren't unlovable. That is super, super important. And then when you become more awakened and spiritually aware of why you've been going on this journey, then your obstacles are gonna start clearing out a little bit more. And you're gonna start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. But right now, do what you gotta do to survive. You know, you're like, is there any end in sight? And it's like, when you start choosing yourself, when you start choosing your values based off of how you act and what you need instead of glitz and glamour. But it was fun while it was lasted. Anyways, y'all, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below if this resonated with you. And I will see you all next time. Take care. Hello, everyone. You have chosen pile number 3. And these are going to be your messages on how do you reclaim your throne? How do you reclaim your throne? How do you get access to your inner royalty? So right off the bat, I don't know if you're just watching me because you like watch my videos. But this pile doesn't feel like you guys consider yourself royalty. You guys are more so... I see like you're like the plant girlies. You're like the let's get cozy and chill. Let's sit in the woods, in a log cabin, and crochet something. You know what I mean? You guys are like the quiet wealth. The people that are like, I don't need to go on vacations. I just gotta get myself out into the woods, out into nature, drink a nice, refreshing cup of tea, buy my organic imported goods, and be left the fuck alone and chill. And that, to me, that's a real regal strategy. I'm not gonna lie. Because to me, like, you know, there's a huge difference between soft girl life and this. This is literally just like, I'm just at peace and one with nature. Completely and absolutely. And maybe to you guys, you're like, man, like when I see those TikTok videos of the places that people travel to and you're just like, oh, I want to go there. I just want to let you know that, like, in order to afford to travel and do a lot of these experiences, that is a form of royalty. Experiencing life. You know, forget all the other people. Like, for you guys, traveling and having inner peace, that sets you apart right off the bat. Okay, let's go ahead and see what's going on with your cards and take a little bit of a deeper dive into how do you, like, reclaim or have access to this royalty. So for you guys, pile number 3, you guys are going to want to maybe do some meditation. Maybe pile number 4 was also significant to you. I think, like, just get yourself, like, a nice, cozy book, a friend or two, and go on a trip and travel. You know, I feel like you guys need to just maybe do backpacking, be a nomad for a little bit, and allow the journey to unfold itself. And you're like, well, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. And it's like, well, you have to prioritize. If you want a simple life, you can't be bringing clutter with you. If you want to make better choices, spend time alone with yourself. Reflect. And then decide from there. You know, there's something about, like, you're trying to act really emotionally instead of forgiving yourself and just moving through it. Like, you know, so what I'm feeling is, like, for you guys, pile number 1, or I was about to say 1. Again, maybe you guys are drawn to multiple piles. Take what resonates. But I see you guys, pile number 3, you get really caught up in your emotions. And instead of feeling them, releasing them, and moving forward, you get stuck or you get trapped. And you get overwhelmed. Like, I see you guys literally being like, I'm reading a book and I'm crying and I'm crying and I'm crying, and I just don't know what I gotta do, and this and this and this, and you freak out and you worry, instead of just accepting that the book is over. Time to write a new chapter. You know, you're so caught up on, I didn't do this, I didn't finish this, or this didn't happen. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. You're trying to escape from a life that you weren't meant to lead. And you're going on a journey. You know what I mean? Life is a journey. It's a trip. So it doesn't matter if you're on the other side of the world or if you're in this location right now. I keep seeing, like, book. So it's like maybe you guys are writers. And maybe you're scared to put your work out there. Go live a little bit. I know that's kind of what I did. I'm working on a book. And I realized when I first started writing it, I wrote the whole thing beginning to end. And I was like, this book sucks. Because I hadn't lived. I hadn't done any of the things I was writing about. And I was like, there is no way in hell someone reading this book, like, you're not going to be able to connect to it because there is no relationship between my imagination and what actually happens. You know? So in my case, my book was about a rock star and being a rock band and touring and all that stuff. And I've played music, but, like, I wasn't really involved in the music community. Now, I've, I've been to multiple concerts. I've taken vocal lessons. I've learned to make music. I've written music. I've helped run a venue. I've done a couple different things in that field. And so now my impression of how things work is way different. And now I have the experience and the stories to tell and share with other people. So for you guys, pal number 3, don't expect your journey to be perfect. When I wanted to write my book, that was way back in 2018. It's now 2025. Yeah, I don't have the book, but I got all the stories for it now. And now I'm ready. For you guys, maybe it's something else, but you gotta go take that trip, or you're never gonna learn who you are and all of that rich wonderfulness inside of you guys. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take a chance and risk. We've got guarded, soulmate, ask body. I'm dating multiple people right now. 5 of Pentacles. You want to be reversed? Nope. Unbound future. King of Wands. And broken bridge, unsuccessful outcome to a problem. Yeah, some of you guys, maybe you went through a breakup and there was a relationship that didn't work out. Maybe there was a marriage that fell apart. Maybe somebody wasn't who they thought, or there was no happy ending. Some of you guys got multiple soulmates. You're going to get multiple chances at love. It's really not going to be that big of a deal, y'all, when you start figuring out who you are. With Ask Body, talk to your body. Really get connected with your inner feminine. With this 5 of Pentacles, you know, there's a lack mentality here, thinking that like, oh my gosh, I need to be rich. I need to have this bougie experience. I'm sorry, you guys, when you start really getting out there, meeting people like you're going to be having so much fun. Money's not going to be a problem for you guys. You're going to figure it out. Yeah, maybe you're going to struggle a little bit, but it's going to be okay. You've got people. I'm dating multiple people right now. Yeah, maybe just go live a single life for right now. Date multiple people. Experience the different types of love, the heartbreak, the rush, the cheater, the ghoster, the whatever, right? It's all a part of being alive. Trying to avoid pain your whole life gets you no experiences. You know, you're guarded because you're trying to preserve this innocence or this pristine image because you're treating yourself like you're fragile when you're not. Drink your herbal tea. Be one with the earth. Live. Don't try to be plastic and pretend like you're porcelain. This King of Wands energy, this fire and passion, maybe you were used to always chasing after men that you wanted to be like. And you were like, why don't these guys like me? Because they're like you. Right? And so when you start acting like the person you actually are, then they're going to be attracted to you. Because think about it. If you want to marry a person that is attractive, active, going out there and hustling and doing all those cool things, you got to be like that person. Which means don't talk about it. Go do the thing. Go out there on a journey and say, okay, I want to go rock climbing. All right, let's go. All right, I'm going to take care of my body because I want to look good. I want to feel good. You know? No more of this poor as me shit. Now, obviously, you don't have to be able to do everything, but with an unbound future, you're already setting limitations on your body, mind, and spirit of who you can and can't be because of what someone told you in the past. What is your spirit telling you? What's your heart telling you? Go with that. You don't need all the rules. You don't need the soulmate. If anything, to me, by doing this and being on track with your truth, that's how you're going to find your real soulmate, guys. You know? The old guarded you is in the past. Be vulnerable, be whimsy. Take a risk on life. Unsuccessful outcome to a problem, yeah. Your bridge was broken, guys. This old way of living, staying trapped indoors all day, it's not sustainable for your truth anymore. You can't go out and be great if you don't go out, you know? If you don't try, if you don't fail. Guess what? Tell yourself, all right, I know that if I go out there and try to do something cool, do something I really want to do, maybe I want to make art that is a little controversial, or maybe I want to go out there and I want to do backpacking, right? Tell yourself before you go on your journey, I am going to fail. Just accept it. Accept that, yes, you are going to make mistakes. You are going to make yourself look bad. You're going to look ugly. You're going to get betrayed. You are going to go through heartache. Is that where the story ends? Does it? How many books have you read? How many movies have you watched where that's where the story ends? No, the protagonist overcomes it. And that's what Spirit is calling you to do. Go reclaim your throne. This is power over yourself, guys, and not holding yourself back. You're doing this to yourself because of fear. Dog far away, distant friend is thinking of you. Dark man, dealings a relationship with a man with dark complexion or hair. Ooh, somebody likes you. We've got hammock, taking a vacation physically or mentally. Yeah, like y'all gotta chill. Seriously, go lay by, I'm seeing like a creek bed, and you're just sitting there lazily laying in the sun and sleeping. Soulmate again, Jesus Christ, y'all. Maybe someone's got a soulmate coming in who's got something to say about you dating multiple people. Divine Feminine Soulmate, Faithless. The Creator. The Underworld, ooh. I feel like that Underworld has something to do with that dark-haired man. You are too good for me. And the Queen of Fire. What the hell? Okay. Damn, maybe some of y'all should watch one of my soulmate readings or love interest, because clearly, to me, like, I mean, look at that. You got soulmate twice, and then you have this pairing. I don't know if maybe someone's coming back to you, or just with Faithless, I feel like you guys really don't have a lot of faith in your journey. You don't think someone's coming back to you. You feel like no one's going to propose to you, or you're like, oh, this is going to be stupid. There's something about, like, combining your truths together. You know, so this doesn't even necessarily mean that, like, oh no, blast from the past partner, you're going to get engaged or whatever the heck. Doesn't need to be that. However, what I am seeing, though, is it's a balance between your divine masculine and divine feminine. Now, I have really strong opinions about the whole gender labels on a lot of this shit, because I think people get it wrong. And I've been debating if I even want to use those terms ever again, because I'm so frustrated. But right now, with a distant friend is thinking of you, I think it's okay to let go of your past, let go of the soulmate journey for a bit, and have faith in yourself for once. You know, if you spend more time praying about your soulmate, you can't meet him if you're supposed to be meeting him along the way of your journey, right? And with the tea, it's kind of like, I literally see it as like a hot cup of tea that was left sitting out for too long. It's like, yeah, things got stale, things got cold. You were waiting on a proposal, but you didn't do anything. You didn't show up. With the Underworld, though, I feel like this person was maybe trapped by their inner demons and their darkness. And you are going through the same thing as this person. All right, again, because it's like, I'm seeing like a lot of this mirroring back and forth where you guys were so caught up on what the divine masculine was doing that you didn't realize that you were doing what the divine masculine was doing from the feminine lens. Because you had all the power to take action, to take charge, to light yourself up and protect yourself and be dynamic and strategic. But you didn't. Why? Because you put all your power and faith in a person that hadn't manifested yet, wasn't capable of giving you what you want, and was at a distance to you. And you prayed and prayed and prayed. That's not, like, praying about something isn't having faith. That's putting energy into a prayer. Having faith is living your life anyway. And saying, it's going to show up when it needs to. Your soulmate's your best friend. You really think they're not going to show up for you when you need it? when you least expect it, the creator, take charge of the life you want to create. You know, I don't know what's gonna come from my future right now, but I've let go of who I thought I was. I let go of who I'm not. All that's left is to go forward and find out who I am. Damn, that was a really great quote. That was kind of cool. A little poetic there. But yeah, with Dark Man, you know, it's kind of like there's like shadows from your past that like you continued to try to choose people that were reflecting the shadow energy of yourself. And now that that's gone, you needed to remove that so you weren't staying stuck in the underworld. This is where your heart, mind, and spirit needs to be. With this person, you feeling comfortable in your feminine, you not trying to play the savior and the angel for everybody, you just being real. You don't need to be saving anybody right now. You got to be saving yourself for your soulmate, whatever that means. You know? You're good enough on your own. And you want to know who this person is? Okay, I'll tell you. You're not going to see it coming. You're not going to expect it. But they're your best friend. And they're going to show you exactly who they are when they're meant to. So hold tight. And let them show up for you. Exactly the way that they're meant to. And stay dreaming. Write your book. Sing that song. Dance like nobody's watching. And be as beautiful on the outside as you are on the inside. Oh, you guys are so cute. Aw. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Please like, subscribe, comment down below if this resonated with you. And tell me a little bit about the projects you're working on. I want to help support you guys. Anyways, y'all, I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye. Hello, everyone. You have chosen pile number 4. And these are going to be your messages on how do you reclaim your throne? How do you get access to your inner royalty? So already off the bat, yeah, this is going to be a love reading. So for you guys, pile number 4. Wow. Okay. I swear to God, like, this pile is connected to so many other different things. Again, take what resonates, but, like, everything feels very interconnected with this reading on all fronts. Also, I had pulled these cards from the last pile, which was interesting, so this might play a role in your reading as well. But yeah, your royalty is coming together with a version of yourself that you had left in the past, and this could also be working with a partner. Could be working with a best friend. Yeah, because I feel like besties for life really feels important to you guys, pile number 4. I know that you are quite capable of doing things by yourself, and you are a royal princess badass bitch. However, sometimes with a galaxy that's big enough for one, that means there's definitely going to be room for 2. So maybe you're going to be collaborating with somebody that's going to be a long-term friend or partner or buddy. I'm seeing you... It's kind of interesting because I was like, I heard the word bullied, which I was like, oh my gosh, was like one of you two bullied or something? And you brought the other person back to life or vice versa? I don't know, there's something about like an unlikely pairing. So you've got the skeleton hand right here in the living person. So maybe someone's light brought someone else back from the dead. You know, brought them back into their healing space. They just want to stay connected to you in all kinds of different ways. And I feel like, you know, there's money, there's love, there's abundance. But again, I'm feeling power couple here. And that's why, like, it's strange because I'm like, is this romantic? It's like, for some of you guys, yeah, it will be a spouse. Like, maybe you guys are going to tag team and run a business together. Or you just overcome obstacles together. And part of your royalty is being able to collaborate with another person organically and authentically. Because, for example, for some people, especially in people that get tarot readings, right? There's a lot of desperation energy. Like, I want love. I need this. I need that. Right? And not every relationship is like this one. Right? This is literally about a counterpart. This is literally about someone that completes you in a way that, yeah, we're all whole by ourselves, but let's be perfectly fucking honest. If you're the kind of person that you're going on a journey, who would be Bilbo Baggins without his Sam? Sam without his Dean? You know, like there's so many different relationships with people that inspire and bring out the best in you, right? For me, there's my sister. You know, my sister's my bestie BFF forever. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, of course I'm amazing on my own. And she's amazing on her own. But when we get together, it's pretty damn cool, right? And so, like, you can't deny that some of your royalty comes with connecting with another person. Again, it could be divine masculine and divine feminine. You know, you don't even need to be the same gender. It's just literally like this person compliments you in ways that you don't have either the best hold of, or it just works. You know, it's kind of like I'm saying, it's like, it's not like you're not whole or complete on your own. It's just you're better together. And that's kind of where the royalty comes from. It's royal because relationships like these are rare. This is true partnership. Maybe it comes through sex. Maybe it comes through creativity. Maybe it comes through obstacles between you two. And you keep coming back together. There's something really divine about this connection. So maybe this is... Some of y'all came from pile number 3 for sure. But like with the skeleton though, there's something about like maybe somebody died and came back to life. Scorpio. Maybe there was a death in the family of some kind. Maybe you guys like the nightlife, or maybe met at night. I don't know. We've got ascension. Ooh, someone's definitely into astrology or spiritual stuff. There's a little woo-woo fantasy edge to this. So maybe you manifested somebody that's perfect for you. We've got egg, success assured with good plans and hard work. Horseshoe, good luck. Aw, yeah, so like your royalty comes from the fact that by you working on yourself and working in combination with this other person, you guys are lucky, right? Like you guys, you created the life that you wanted. You're carrying each other's burdens together and you're able to share the load so you can have the life that you want. You can have the loving relationship. You can have your cake and eat it too. And it's not hurting anybody else. Yeah, I don't know why I needed to clarify that. It literally, to me, it just seems like you guys are just blissfully, like, unaware of the rest of the world suffering because you're like, yeah, I'm okay now. All my dreams and whatever. Now, what's interesting, because here I've got all these cards in my hand, and I'm sitting here like, oh, I want to talk about all this. And immediately I was just like throwing all that away. And coming back over here, where we've got the dark man, dealings with or a relationship with a man with dark complexion or hair, and the underworld, right? So this person was a villain in your past. Maybe in both of your pasts. I was like, is this the person? Hell no. Hell no. So I feel like maybe there was a villain in both of y'all's past. And that's what brought you two together. Was you guys both learned who your demons were, how you respond to that kind of energy, and who the hell to stay away from, right? You guys are going to overcome obstacles of getting through this relationship with this person. No longer being bound to the toxic partners, the abusiveness, the narcissism, all of these things. That's kind of, you're going to meet your truth in your best friend. Because your best friend's your truth, right? They're successful. They're going to take care of you. You don't have to worry about any of this shit. And like, maybe you're still thinking about this person from your past. Maybe you doubt yourself. Remember that it's your story, right? Your hurt belongs to someone, but deep down inside, you know you're going to miss this person. You're going to miss the fantasy, the illusion. You're going to trip up, right? And maybe you haven't met this person yet. But remember, this is about how do you reclaim your royalty, right? Because a king and a queen, there's a reason why there's not just a king. He's got to have his queen And she's doing a lot more work than just sitting around looking pretty, right? She inspires him. She is the light that he fights for. He brings out the best in her. He serves her, and she gives to him in return. It's symbiotic. It's beautiful. With this person, there was none of that. There was no giving and receiving. There were jokes, half-baked words. There was no substance. And you wanted to stay in this deep, dark place because this feels like a lot, right? Look at all the amazing things that are going to happen in your journey if you pull yourself from your bootstraps and get out of the underworld. This is all you've known. This feels so comfortable to you that you'd rather forego all of this to keep yourself stuck in prison. You're hoping that you're going to get out of jail. Someone's going to walk up and unlock the door, that someone else has the key. That's not your issue, girl. Boy. Whoever this person is that's got you chained up inside, maybe you chained yourself up because you said, oh, this is me and my deep, dark secret. I'm secretly bad. I'm secretly going to hurt everybody I love and care about. I'm not strong enough. I don't have the self-worth or self-esteem to do this. Damn straight you do. Look at all the stuff you did up until this point. Look at all the stuff that Spirit's promising you awaits for you if you do the work. Literally, I keep looking at myself in the mirror and I just see this person gazing, longing at you. And yeah, you have a dark side. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to just complain about it? Or are you going to heal it? Are you going to take off the chains? Are you going to stop being your worst enemy? Are you always going to let yourself down? Or are you going to stand up for yourself? How are you supposed to be someone else's best friend if you're not best friends with yourself? Oof, that's something you don't want to acknowledge. This is the underworld. This is the version of you that you're hiding from yourself because you're scared. You're going to treat yourself like you treat all your enemies. How do you know that they're the same? You don't, do you? But keep in mind, I'm pretty sure that your exes are pretty jealous, and they're going to be hella jealous of this new person coming in. I don't know. He apparently wants to stay. So, okay. But let's get back into your reading, because royalty is acknowledging that, yeah, you had a past. You have a dark side. Dark feminine, dark masculine, rage. I'm seeing addictions, because I was seeing with red eyes, kind of being high all the time. And maybe you really did struggle without having this person around. Maybe you were really upset when you lost a partner. And you betrayed yourself because you were alone for a long time. And so when you didn't let this person in, even if this person's imaginary, you knew what heartache felt like. And you knew why you didn't trust anybody. It was because you didn't trust yourself. You were faithless. Kind of like that other pile. But I'm going to tell you right now, you guys have good luck. Luck is on your side. And I'm telling you, you're the real deal. This isn't fake. This isn't me trying to hype you guys up. This is what is meant for you. Right? We've got dog close-up pleasure with a close friend. Yeah, this is going to be your friend. Besties for life. Shield, you need to defend yourself. May. So springtime's coming up again. Maybe something happened in May. Maybe journal about it. I'm seeing with the cherry blossoms. Maybe someone likes watching anime. Maybe they're Asian. Maybe they like Zen. Funnel, period of frustration, lessons to be learned. Yeah, I feel like you guys are trying to like process all this shit at once. And you gotta slow down. Right? Slow down. If you want to manifest this person, if you want to have access to your ability to be open to a love like this, you can't be like, I literally see you guys like, it's like when you eat a crap ton of food and then your bowels are like, no, this is too much for me. You know what I mean? Emotional constipation. Yeah, you're gonna be fucking overwhelmed by, if you've been emotionally abused, if someone came in and showed you unconditional love, you'd freak the fuck out and run away. Anybody would. I would. Doesn't matter how tough you are. That shit is scarier than anything. I would rather go fight a horde of monsters than have someone I really like come up to me and just love bomb me. Oh my gosh. That was so funny. While I was like pulling your cards to flip them over, self-worth came out. It literally fell at me while I was saying that. Yeah, have self-worth, that you deserve to be loved. You deserve to have a bestie. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be held when you're crying. You deserve to be held because you're amazing. Yeah, I feel like you and this person, you're going to just hold each other for a long time. Yeah, pleasure with a close friend. Yeah. And you don't have to force this relationship either, guys. Like, this is going to come so naturally to you that it's going to be really difficult for you to betray this relationship. I'm hearing it's almost like you can't self-sabotage it, because if anything, you're going to need to defend yourself from your own self. Yeah, I'm just seeing like the self-sabotage in this Ascension card. Like, the good news is this person isn't coming in until you're more healthy and in balance with yourself, so you're not going to screw it up like you would when you were like this. But like, this person, like, you got to let go of this version of you in the past. You know what I mean? Let go of your ex. It's done. Right? You're addicted. This person, pawn number 4, represented addiction, betrayal, the past that you couldn't escape from. And now you're breaking the cycle. I'm hearing a rumor. Who cares about rumors? I heard rumor weed. I was immediately thinking of from VeggieTales. Embarrassment. Dark Night of the Soul. Ooh. Foolish. Shocking. Oh my gosh. Did you like open this person up? Or did this happen to you? I don't know. Like, there's something about like you and this other person. I think maybe this is why it's so hard for you to separate through the distortions of this other person or your soulmate person, because to me, I'm literally seeing like you guys had to go through a dark night of the soul and transform and overcome all this shame. Like, with shocking, foolish, embarrassment, like, this feels like it's not yours to carry. Especially if this is your partner's. I just feel like you triggered this person's dark night of the soul for some reason. And it wasn't because of what you said, it's what you did. And I think it really hurt this person. And that's where I feel like you need to defend yourself. It really feels like you are gonna need to defend your actions because you came from a place of love. And this person generally doesn't believe that. They're like, this person's like heartbroken, hardcore. They were shocked, betrayed. Maybe you were just kind of harsh. Embarrassed. Yeah, I feel like you were just kind of embarrassed about something. Yeah, I'm hearing like maybe was somebody trans? Was somebody not who they say they were? Aw, I'm literally seeing like a love letter they never sent to you. Aw. This person's cute. Sorry, I'm checking out your person. I was like, ooh. Anyways, we've got refocus, non-action, understanding, the Six of Cups in reverse, the Two of Wands in reverse, and this is the Statue Savior in reverse. Okay, so for you guys, pile number 4, in order to reclaim your royalty, you need to take a timeout. Don't do anything. Enjoy life. Be spiritual, but literally just exist. I'm literally like, don't even focus on taking care of your bills or whatever. I mean, like, obviously do what you got to do for self-care, but like really like spend time doing absolutely nothing, because your body, heart, and mind need a reset so you can overcome this toxic cycle, saga, drama. Because to me, all this shit, this isn't yours. You coming in and trying to save your partner, this person, whatever, that is not up to you. This person, like, you already had your dark night of this whole moment. Now you get to go be free. Go be bright. Go be happy. Let this person heal. Trust that they will heal. And have your own self-worth. Have your cake and eat it too. Seriously, go eat some more cake. Refocus back on yourself. And you're going to understand exactly why this person said and did what they were thinking and feeling. Yeah, there's like a trauma loop and spiral that you guys have been going through, either over a situation, a person, your past, that addiction energy. The only way out of the addiction is through. Luck is on your side. Like, don't be afraid. Literally just step in there, sort your shit out, heal your embarrassment over dating losers in the past, not valuing yourself. You're like, they weren't losers. Yeah, they kind of were. And with Statue Savior, yeah, I'm just feeling like, get creative and inspired again. Just start doing some mini projects. Be like, you know what I want to do? Today or tomorrow, when I'm feeling like I have some extra energy, I'm going to decorate my kitchen. I'm going to make a painting. I'm going to dry some flowers. I'm going to do something really small and easy for myself. Right? Let the gears start turning again. There's something false that's happening here. That it's kind of like a false self that you're trying to act like you're not whole when this person's not around, when really they're just another version of you, right? So when you start having more self-worth and self-esteem, you're out there having so much fun and blah, 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 blah. You're not going to even notice what this person's going through. And then when they show up, you're like, oh, okay, right on time. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I see you guys when you finally get yourself back out there, start getting successful, start enjoying life again. This shocking, whatever, it's not going to seem that shocking, because you're going to go like, yeah, I already knew about that. Yeah, let's go have some fun, right? That's why I like, go hang out and make some new friends right now. Because in order to reclaim your royalty in this relationship and yourself, it's really about just maintaining your relationship with yourself while being in cohabitation with another person, right? Don't judge them for their dark night of the soul. Let them go through what they got to go through. The wildling, or I'm seeing like Two of Swords, having a hard time making a decision. The alchemist. The Nine of Swords. Yeah, you're all in your head, y'all. Ant, work, achievement, success. And dogs, getting together with friends. Yeah, look at all the dog analogy. Maybe you guys have dogs. The same kind of dog. Maybe wolves are significant. Someone's a furry. Anyways, but yeah, with the alchemist and the wildling, I'm really feeling like you gotta let yourself be okay to challenge this person. but also to challenge yourself. There's something about learning to battle instead of fight. So, like, right now, you are battling your own dark night of your soul, your own self-worth and all that other stuff. And, like, take charge. You know? I'm literally seeing, like, fighting this person. I know that's what you want to do, but, like, don't embarrass yourself. You know what I mean? Like, there's something kind of going on with this. Can we get some clarity on this wildling card? All right, Spirit's telling me to read the booklet. Maybe this will... Okay, so first of all, what was interesting, this was the absolute last card in the deck, which is interesting. And we have, pulling the Wildling card indicates a time to connect to the most primal parts of yourself. This may mean you need to detach a bit from people around you so you can hear the whispers of your deepest knowing without the influence of others. The Wildling is raw, empowered, and independent. Many people are intimidated by them because they need little from others and prioritize radical freedom, which can be unsettling as most of society operates within unspoken expectations and contracts. The Wildling burns the contract and heads into the woods. Wildling comes to us as an ally when we need to break free of the systems that limit us. The Wildling within us remembers a time when we lived with the land, when we walked barefoot, when our lives were in alignment with the natural world. Wildling is a call for remembrance. A good way to invoke Wildling is to dive deeper into our body and hear what it needs from us on our most primal level. A balanced Wildling prioritizes freedom but remains grounded. They possess an instinct that may not make sense to others but never leads them astray. They are present to their own emotions, needs, and will spend time on their personal development. I'm supposed to read the unbalanced. An unbalanced Wildling is in a state of perpetual chaos. They are avoidant and often use the external for a band-aid of their internal disease, which often means they're constantly moving on to the next thing. What they move on to never ends up being what they hoped for. Yeah. Now I see why I had to read that. Okay. That provides clarification, because it's almost like for you guys, pile number 4, you're going to keep staying stuck in a battle in between yourself and another person until you resolve this. Go through the dark night of the soul, heal from your wounds, and then you can move forward. I'm literally saying, like, you know, this person's your partner, right? But you don't know who this person is yet. And I say that because this person's never shown themselves to you. So refocus and work on this Wildling energy, right? Because immediately I was like, you know, that's a really great card. Why does it feel so abrasive? And it's like, maybe because you've never learned how to handle that energy of yourself, right? You're always taught, like, oh, well, acting like this, and this makes me foolish, or, you know, untamable, and all this stuff, unreachable. And it's like, no. Actually, being a little bit of a spiritual gremlin would be a good thing for you. Just be unbound and wild and free. Let your hair down. Grow out your beard or your fur, and just be a little bit more natural. I don't know, I'm just like imagining, like, you know, when you go to the dog park, you see all kinds of dogs, big, small, all kinds of breeds, and you know what they all do? They all show up, they run around, they poop and shit, they play, they're happy and friendly with everybody. Dogs don't give a fuck. And neither should you, right? And yeah, that's gonna how you meet your person. Just go out there and have fun. Don't focus on the dark night of the soul. I'm saying that, but it's like literally, as I look at it, I'm like, this is where your secret lies. Pile number 4. Focus on your dark night of the soul. Dive in. Heal the wound. And then it's all gonna come together. I promise. Anyways, y'all, thank you guys so much. Please like, subscribe, comment down below if this makes sense to you. And I will see you all next time. Take care.